Israeli forces have renewed raids on Gaza's largest hospital in search of what they claim is an underground network of tunnels housing Hamas militants below the Al-Shifa medical facility. Now, Hamas and hospital staff have repeatedly denied the presence of any military operations centre at the building. Israeli forces released this footage of what it says is, quote, military equipment used by Hamas inside the complex. The video, which hasn't been independently verified, shows some of the materials recovered from an undisclosed building in the hospital compound. However, the IDF has made no mention about finding underground bunkers or if any hostages have been located. And meantime, negotiations to release some 200 hostages held captive by Hamas are ongoing. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been under pressure over the slow pace of rescue operations. Protesters have taken to the streets of Tel Aviv, demanding the return of their loved ones. US President Joe Biden says that he is mildly hopeful of a deal. Now, according to Reuters, Qatari mediators are closing in on an agreement that would include the release of 50 hostages and a 3-day truce. The deal could also see Israel releasing some Palestinian women and minors from detention. Thai Muslim politicians said that they'd received assurances from Hamas that all the Thai hostages will be among those released if a ceasefire is brokered.
ผมก็หวังอย่างยิ่งว่านะครับอีกไม่กี่วันนี้เนี่ยเราคงจะได้รับข่าวดีนะฮะเพื่อที่จะสร้างความปลื้มปิติมาสู่พี่น้องประชาชนคนไทยโดยเฉพาะครอบครัวของแรงงานทุกคนที่กำลังห่วงใยนะครับถึงชีวิตและความปลอดภัยของตัวแทนของเขาหรือหัวหน้าครอบครัวเขาที่อยู่ในต่างประเทศดังนั้นคิดว่าอีกไม่น่าเกิน10 วันหรืออาจจะ2-3 วันนี้ก็ได้นะครับที่จะมีการปล่อยตัวส่วนจะปล่อยที่ไหนนี่คือเขาก็ศึกษาถึงความปลอดภัยนะครับก่อนว่าจะปล่อยตามชายแดนตรงไหนอันนี้ยังไม่ได้รับการยืนยันจากทางฮามาสนะ
For more, Sarah Coates joins us. She's live from Tel Aviv. Sarah, Israel's raid of the Al-Shifa hospital has entered its second day now. We're seeing reports of clashes happening near the facility. What's the latest?
Hello there, Dawn. Well, look, yes, these are reportedly extremely heavy, the heaviest in the last few days around that Al-Shifa complex. Hamas has come out to say that its fighters are clashing with Israeli troops, and we do hear reports coming from the ground of a lot of gunshots. Now, one of the people that's inside this hospital, a health worker, says that nobody is now allowed to leave that hospital. Now, Hebrew media is reporting that heavy bulldozers, armoured bulldozers, are on the ground. They are accompanied by Israeli tanks, and it says that they are there to dig out what it says are the entries to these tunnels, which Israel alleges run underneath Al-Shifa hospital to get to this alleged command centre, this nucleus of Hamas operations. Now, as you mentioned, these pictures were released overnight by the IDF showing weapons and other Hamas paraphernalia. But look, what hasn't been found yet, Dawn, is any evidence of these hostages. That was one of Israel's reasons for saying it was going into Al-Shifa hospital, was to try and rescue some of these 240 hostages that are being held inside the strip. Now, there's still no word on their whereabouts, their welfare, but we just did hear some information coming in from the Israeli War Cabinet. It is set to hold a meeting at around 8 o'clock local time tonight. That's in around 6 or so hours, with some potentially fresh movement on this hostage deal, which is being negotiated there by Qatar. So we might have a little bit more on that later on for you.
Sarah, meantime, the Israeli military says that its warplanes have struck the house of a senior Hamas leader, Ismail Haniyeh, in the Gaza Strip today. Tell us more about that.
Well, look, Haniyeh doesn't even live in this home. He lives between Turkey and Qatar. We don't understand or know if anyone was actually inside that home when it was hit by Israeli warplanes. But what the military is saying, they say it was terror infrastructure. They say this was a base used by Hamas to potentially plan out this October 7 attack, which happened in southern Israel, resulting in the death of around 1,200 Israelis. That's why they say they took this house out. Now, also, Dawn, in the strip down south in Khan Yunis, in the east of Khan Yunis, the military has been reportedly dropping leaflets on the homes of people there, telling them to evacuate. So, look, what this tells us is that this military campaign that we're seeing in the north now could potentially be widening further south. But look, the humanitarian situation, as we've spoken so much about, is only growing worse. If these people from Khan Yunis actually have to now move even further, they have to move out of their homes, humanitarian aid groups say they simply will not be able to handle this influx of people.
All right, Sarah, thank you very much for that. Sarah Coates there for us in Tel Aviv.